Hi guys, if it's Friday, it's down and dirty WOODSCRAFT. Stay with me. Okay guys, today we're going to do a really simple project that's going to make a big difference in your bushcrafting, woodscraft experience. And all it's going to require is a little imagination on your part. Now in a recent video I talked about, in the Ground Pounder series, I showed about taking and hanging ties onto a poncho made out of BANKLINE. And that seemed to spark a real interest, and a lot of people liked that idea, so they asked me to flesh it out. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to talk about how you're going to make a self-locking, or I should say self-closing, tent loop. But this has so many uses in camp, and we're going to go over that right now. So first, let's talk about how to make it. I'm going to put the camera down, and we're going to make one right quick, and I'm going to show you the uses of this little simple device. Because as my grandmother said, and she always said it was out of scripture, but I've never found this particular verse: if it is simple, it is useful. Well, let's make something simple and useful. I'm going to take a length of cord. I can use BANKLINE for this, but for this I'm going to use 550 PARACORD because you can see it. I'm going to use a bright color. I'm going to go ahead and tie a good heavy knot at both ends. I'm now going to pinch, and I'm going to pull tightly the full length of it to stretch any slack out. Give it a couple of snap tugs like that. I want those lines inside stretched out nice and tight. Now I need to anchor this. Now I can simply get my wife or something to hold one end, or I can somehow pin it or something like that. But I need this end to be stationary, and I need both hands for the other part. So I'm going to use just a pair of locking pliers, and I'm going to grab that knot just like that, put it down, and now I'm going to put my foot on it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this line out. Let me zoom the camera out just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to put my foot down there to hold it, and I'm going to stretch my line out over this way. Okay, now I'm going to pull the line tight, and I'm going to start twisting the line, holding it tight in one direction. In this case, I'm going clockwise. As I twist it, just like you'd make twisted cordage, right? When it gets to where it wants to bind up a little, run my fingers up and down. Make sure it's not just kinking in one place, that the kink is spread the full length. And I keep it tight, and I keep twisting. This, of course, is drawing the fibers up, but I'm loading this. I'm adding in a mechanical spring effect, and you're going to see how this works in just a minute. Keep twisting. Run up and down ever so often until it really starts kinking up pretty heavily. Now, I done twisted that knot clean out, so I got to retie that knot right quick in my top up here. There we go. Alright, keep twisting. Twist, work your way down, twist, work your way down. Now how much, you'll figure out once you start using it. But you get to where it's starting to do this, it's starting to kink up on its own. In which case I try to twist it and spread that out the full length. Alright, now I'm going to roughly grab in the middle. Holding it, I'm going to go into the other end. Once I have it at the other end, holding outward, I'm going to let it spiral up upon itself. Just like that. Pulling the two ends. Now I can unhook it. Now still holding that top up there and making sure that it's twisted up the whole length. Now I'm going to put a knot right there to keep those from untwisting. Okay? Pull that knot good and tight. Now like that. Now that's what I've created right there. It's simply a piece of twisted cordage. But now the cord is at rest. That torquing action, now that I've allowed it to float, is untorqued. But it's still there. It's just relaxed now. But if I try to separate it, I try to spread it apart, that torquing action immediately returns. And if I let go, it closes back up. Excuse me. So now what I've done, let me zoom in now and show you more in depth of what we're doing. Okay, now here's the line. it's at rest, bound up toward each other. So there's hardly any tension at all. But each one of them is still twisted. And that means if I try to open it up, it wants to pop right back. If I open it up and make a big hole and let go, it pops right back. Now what this means is, and I'll show you in a second when I put it on the tarp, it's acting like a spring. So if I grab up here and just spread it out and I go to pulling, all that torsion is spread to here. When I let go, it closes right back up. Now let me show you the practical application of this. Now I go up to my tarp. I take this and I pass it through. I come up here to the top and I untwist and open it up. I pass it back through itself to lock it in place. Just like that. And of course I'll clean them knots up. But now I've got something that's just a toggle, right? There's no loop here to hang up on anything. But if I want to put a tent stake into it, all I got to do, but now when I want to put a tent stake in there, all I got to do is open that up, put the tent stake through it, and it will close back up around it all by itself. Anywhere along here I want to put the tent stake. So let's say I want to put it down here close. I put it through the bottom first. I come up here at the top, I stick a hole, and I put it through again. Like that. That will now hold, and this will also act like a spring. So if a heavy storm wind hits this or something, it will pull and open up, and then will close itself back up and pull it back like a spring. This is something that I can stick a tent stake through. I can also, okay, now I don't have a tent stake, I've got to improvise a tent stake. So I got an 1¼ inch diameter stick. No problem. All I got to do is come down here, open that up, spread it out, stick it through there and let go, and it instantly locks to that size. No problem, no slack, no nothing. It's not going to come off because it's twisted onto itself. Now I've got a tent stake that I can pull. How about I want to do something structural? I don't want to hook it to a tent stake. I want to hook it to a 3-inch diameter pole like this. Well, it's not difficult at all. All I got to do is grab it, spread it out, put it over the top and let go, and it will cinch itself back up to whatever size I want. I can now adjust and hook to this very simply. So, I take, say, a 6-inch piece coming off of the corner of one of my tarps out of BANKLINE. I just leave it on the tarp. Well, now when I go to set it up, that doesn't hang up on much. So as you're moving the tarp around and everything, you know what a loop does. It bullseyes everything. You cannot lasso anything, but with a loop on a tarp, you can snag everything in range. But this won't, because this is kind of kinked up. It's flexible, but it hasn't got anything to bind up on it, so it just slides. So when I get there to pull this out, I pull it out and I spread it out and I stick my tent stake through it. That's all I got to do. Go through twice. It ain't going to pull up because of the double kinks. See? At the same time, this has other uses besides just on a tarp, because this is also a locking soft shackle. Now, all I've got to do is come up here and spread it open, go through the opening, come up and again untwist this one now, push the knot through it like that and pull. And that's a locked soft shackle that ain't going to unlock by itself. Now I can use this as a structure loader. I can hang a hammock off of this. I can hook heavy pieces of pack or whatever to a tree, a pole, into my vehicle or whatever like that. And how hard is it to undo? All I got to do is just lift up there, find the knot, lift up the knot, pull it back through, and pull it back through. Unlock. And it's right back to that twisted configuration. No matter what, it's going to go back to that twisted configuration because I've mechanically loaded that spring action, that twisting action into it. So no matter how I spread this thing out, when I let go, it goes back into being that. Pretty simple, huh? Now I want to hang a piece of gear off my belt that I wasn't planning on it, but you know, we've got here and we're having to gather and I don't want to lay my axe down. Well, I take that and I pass that through there like that on my belt. Click. I now take my axe All I gotta do is spread this open, just big enough for the handle to fit in, like that. Come up, and it will lock around it just like that to hold it. You know? How about I do it twice? How about I do it where I come up here and go around the whole head of it like that? Something I'm gonna grab in 2 minutes. I just want to hang it there, get it off the deck. How about this mask up here? How about I make something like this so that when I spread this apart and hook it over that, and so that's hard to do because there's so much tension in that thing now. It's like a bungee to hold it in place. There's a quick hand bungee like that. It's sitting there and going to hold that snug for something I can stick in a pack or whatever, but it'd be easy to pull off, and it goes right back to that doubled up loop. Super simple. Now, what else can this be used for? Well, how about this for a quick extra hand? Okay, let's say I make up one of these and I simply anchor it to a pack like that. Come up, spread it, go through. Nothing to it. Now I can take and just simply twist it apart, and this has got a lot of tension in it now after that forced apart, and I can stick a whatever through it and let it spiral right back up. I can put my gloves, I can put whatever on here, and it will take quite a bit of handling to hold it in place. See, if I really want to be super secure, open it up another place and stick it back through so they bind against each other. Like that. Pull it. That ain't going nowhere. That's going to be there because it's constantly closing up around itself. And yet I can grab it and pull it right off, and the cord goes right back to that shape. So, with this simple trick of creating a twisted cord that's basically a spring now, it is a soft shackle that I can lock gear, that can be load bearing. I can sit there and create this and hang my hammock off of a tree with it. It can also be a quick connector where I can wrap it around 2 or 3 times and still go through and do that loop to anchor some, bigger piece of material, heavier piece of material to some sort of carrying device. I can just take one and generate like this and put it on my pack just by running through that end loop on that way in a tie and an end loop that way in a tie, and making it where I can just zip it up and stick my gloves in, or my bandana, or my socks that I washed in that stream from last night. I can hang it like a clothesline on my pack with this so I can walk and they can be drying as I walk. I can make a long one like this and make a clothesline in camp for hanging up my clothes, right? It's a adaptation to my TARPS, made out of either BANKLINE or out of 550 PARACORD, that doesn't tangle up easy, and yet allows me to instantly put a tent stake in and anchor it down. How about one of these hanging next to your fire, up on your fire thing on the side, where I can take that spoon right quick and stick it into it, and it'll hang there and not be down in the dirt, so I can get to it. I can wash my spoons, my whatever, and hang them through this and hang them up to air dry and not have to lay them down on something. There's 1,001 uses for that. All you need is a little imagination. It is so simple to make. It's just a piece of cord that's been twisted. Now, if it's a cord like BANKLINE already has a twist, go with the twist so it pulls tighter. Don't unravel it, ravel it tighter. Okay. And the whole secret is, once you've done it, you folded it in half, and then you tied those 2 ends. Make sure those ends are well tied, because if they come loose, then they can lose that tension. But that mechanical tension is loaded into that cord, and it'll be good today, tomorrow, next week, 6 months from now, whatever. That's going to be there. So, a piece of cord twisted that becomes a soft shackle. Just like that. Ain't gonna come apart. Here's a way I can anchor my tarp to a tree. There's a way I can put a tent stake through this. There's a way I can hang up a hammock. There's a way I can put up on top of my pack and be able to spread these out to put that small, you know, tarp roll or something, slide it between two of them, and they'll grip it and hang on to it. Something quick and easy that doesn't cost anything that you can make and make your camp a whole lot better. Think about the uses you could come up with this. Give it a try yourself. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you have, please hit that like button before you go. And until next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.